welcome to FanCorner, your favorite nerdy, unhinged podcast. Today's a plot twist because I will not be leading the discussion today. Today, Ryan's going to lead the discussion. Woo!
Yay! Yeah, I am your host for the day. My name is Brian. I am Rachel's boyfriend and her water bottle filler upper and cat looker after her. So I'm very highly talented. And
I feel like stepdad would have been like a better word choice there.
Yeah, stepdad. Although I don't know, sometimes the math on the genealogy there gets kind of confusing on how that all works.
Well, why are you co-hosting, or why are you hosting today? Why are you the host?
I'm hosting today because I'm awesome. No, because it's FanCorner's 8th birthday. And so we are going to do a special episode where I'm going to interview Rachael using questions from all y'all that you posted on her social media. We're going to talk about her favorite fandoms, things about her business, stories from the business's past, and maybe even an inappropriate question or two, but we'll see how much time we have.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I'm going off the list that you gave me.
I, in theory, have seen these because y'all sent them in on Instagram stories, but who knows if I'm actually prepped. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I didn't hear you practicing in the bathroom earlier. So 8 years.
Yeah.
That if your business was a child, it would be like, asking for like lunch money and stuff by now. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I don't know, second grade or something.
Yeah, I don't know, because I was older like all the years of school, so my perception of what ages like go to which grades, I have no clue. But eight sounds like that's when they really start to kind of like get a mind of their own. That's kind of scary.
Yeah. When I started this, I was just in college, and it was one product, and I just had no idea that this is where we'd end up.
Yeah.
When I sat and came up with the name FanCornerCreations, I mean, I don't even know what I was trying to really get at. So luckily I did go broad fandom, I guess.
Yeah.
But the name's grown on me, though, obviously. Now I'm really into it. But, literally couldn't have told you that this is where we'd be.
Yeah, no, it's amazing to look back at what the original idea was. And speaking of that, what made you decide to start FanCorner? What's the story there?
So this question is a really funny question because I don't know that I decided to start FanCorner so much as I decided I wanted a friends frame.
For yourself to use.
I tried buying one. Okay, so let's rewind. Okay, so basically what had happened was I had a friend for Christmas. I went to buy this friend something, and they love Friends. And we'd been watching Friends, and they I was thinking of stuff to get them for Christmas, and I was like, I don't really want to get a t-shirt or a mug, that to me that felt cheap, not in an offensive way. If you like the t-shirts, get the t-shirts. I have a t-shirt, but
yeah, my sister has a mug collection. They can be cute.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted something a little cooler, I feel like it's so easy in the nerdy space, and it's gotten a lot better, but especially back then 8 years ago, where if you wanted something specific to a franchise, it was your option was that logo on a mug or a t-shirt. That was it. There was no deeper cuts going on.
Right.
But I didn't know that quite yet. So I was brainstorming ideas for their gift, and I was like, what'd be really cool is the frame on Monica's door.
Yeah, so iconic.
Yeah, it's in every single episode. And so I literally was like, I want to get that frame. And I Googled and I Etsy'd and I did all the things. And there really wasn't an option to do this.
Sure.
There was one in another country, and it did not look good. I did end up ordering it. I got it, and I had to do a lot of crazy stuff to it to make it cute.
It's funny that it was so bad.
And it was so expensive. And so I just was like, well, why isn't... I was kind of confused.
Sure.
Because I'd never, tried really hard to buy something before and then, not been able... sometimes you can't afford something.
Oh, sure. No, my Christmas shopping tends to consist of getting on Amazon and saying, gifts for mom under $10. That's kind of...
So it just didn't occur to me. And so I found myself just really frustrated by this. And so I was like, how does no one doing this? Someone should be doing this. And then after that Christmas... For 10 months, I just kept playing with it. I'd made one really good one and made a mold. But then it took me a very long time to come up with the way. The first ones I made, they were too weak to actually send to people. The type of ceramics I was using.
Sure.
I ended up using, I can tell y'all now, this used to be a trade secret.
Oh.
Wouldn't have told anyone to save my life. But I ended up, because it took me 10 months really, and I wasn't working on it all the time.
Sure.
But I use Hydro Stone, which is something you can only buy. Yeah, the balloons are just
Sorry,
rogue.
the cat
That's
just
fine.
like knocked the balloon off.
Oh, I thought that was just
Ray.
the balloon,
No, that was
and you
Ray.
were that entertained.
Sorry.
So I use something called hydrostone,
Mhm.
and it's very strong. Like you can't like twerk it to break it. Obviously, with anything ceramic, like if it drops, it's gonna break. And I would hand paint them. I listed it in October, not really thinking too much of it, thinking I'd sell a handful.
You listed it on Etsy or
On Etsy and Amazon.
Oh, okay, sure.
Both platforms, and tell me why I blew up.
Yeah.
And at the time, you know, I was hand pouring every single one. I was in college. I had to paint them. We actually, the first few arrived broken until I learned how to ship them like in a way that would work. It was literally crazy. So I didn't like choose to start FanCorner in a very real way. I think FanCorner found me.
I love that. I feel like the trope is when a person decides they want to start a business, they sit down and they're like, okay, I'm going to think of an idea for a business. And you end up like, that's not the way that real solutions tend to come about.
That always confuses me.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'll have people ask for advice sometimes.
What's a business I should start?
Yeah, and they'll be like, yeah, I'm brainstorming still. And I'm like, well, then stop. You need to, wait, if you're, that's not how you start a business.
I guess there's a chance that you could happen upon a true need. But I think that, yeah, you saying, I would buy this and it not being anywhere, I think that's a really cool beginning to a business because it really was filling a need. Because like I think a lot of businesses will like they'll ask somebody what they think of their idea, and it's like, well, I wouldn't buy it, and it's well, but you're not my target customer.
Yeah, I actually firmly don't believe in asking people.
Yeah.
When I talk to people about like, you know, the market research thing, and I know that's what they teach in business school and like whatever, like I guess it works for some people, right? But I think it's a stupid proposition to do the market research because I think that's a really hard thing to actually get the client audience to even know.
Yeah, it's expensive too.
It's expensive, and say like, so I feel like a lot of people would just go on Instagram and ask, and it's like that doesn't mean anything. Like,
no, you need to let people vote with
absolutely not. And so I'm a firm believer in, and this is why FanCorner to this day, I just follow passion and vibes.
Sure.
I have learned the skills I've needed as I've done it, which endlessly then surprises me that people want anything I make because I'm not a normal, like I know I'm an artist, but I'm like kind of not. I feel like in some ways.
Well, you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
The statistics on how many businesses are still around after certain milestones is very distressing. Like, I've always found this really funny, and this isn't the only thing we want to talk about today, but this is something I'm passionate about, where kids, when they're young, will say, I want to be a professional basketball player, I want to be a professional football player. And it's like the percentage likelihood of that happening is like infinitesimal compared to the likelihood of a business succeeding. And a business succeeding is infinitesimally likely. And so it's really cool that you've done so well where it's like, I forget the exact statistics, but it's something in the margin of like 90% of businesses aren't around after 5 years. And then there's another huge drop off. It's like 90% of those 90 don't make it to the next 5 years.
I think actually that's why I've started that's why there's balloons everywhere. I started getting really intense about celebrating FanCorner's birthday. Sure. It was once I hit 5 years. I think until 5 years, I mean, you're just sort of surviving. I don't think you really think about it very much.
Well, FanCorner,
and then it got really real.
It's such a lifestyle thing for you because, like, this business is you. Like,
oh, absolutely.
As you get into something, FanCorner gets into something. I think that's really interesting how that happens. But with that being said, so we talked about the Friends frame. Is that the product that you're most proud of that you've made with FanCorner, or is there something that you are more proud of than the Friends frame?
You know, it's interesting because I think the ceramic Friends frame specifically, which I don't sell anymore, you don't
even have one.
I don't have one. I didn't save one, and now I'm really intense about saving even crappy products. Like I'm like, if you're the last one,
put it in the library.
Yeah, because it's the biggest regret of my life. I threw away the molds. Honestly, I might just like do a run of them just because I want one. But it was honestly, it was the most beautiful thing I've made to this date. It ended up being that's not anyway. It's complicated, but. The blue French horn, the vanishing cabinet, some of those things were the most difficult things I've made. So you'd think they were the thing I was most proud of.
Yeah.
Like that vanishing cabinet file, I mean, our computer just kept crashing over and over when we tried to add the wood grain.
The complexity of the file, yeah.
And it was one of our first miniatures, I believe. So it was kind of...
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think that's why it was so difficult for us to get our heads around it. But actually, the things I'm most proud of are the things that are more from my mind. So my prefix badges, I designed those.
Yeah, that's something I think we hear referenced in the book.
Yeah.
But I don't think we see in a film.
No, we don't see them, and we don't. I mean, they're not like crazy described, right? But this is what they looked like to me, and so that's what I made. And so, speaking of that, the thing that's like the most from my mind would probably be Exploding Horcruxes, my card game.
Absolutely, that was all you.
Yeah, and so I think that's probably the thing I'm most proud of. I'm down to my last 100. Once I sell out, I'm going to redo the art completely.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. But I think that's the thing I'm most proud of, just because why would someone buy something? Oh, and this happens to when people buy like my stickers, like, because I don't think of myself as an artist, even though I do, kind of. When people buy something I drew, I'm always like, what? Like, are you sure you want this? Yeah. And yet it happens. And so that always like really just kind of flabbergasts me in like a good way. Like I feel like truly just really touched by that.
Sure. Yeah, it is. It's a big compliment, but you also make really cool shit. So
Thanks.
It makes sense. So maybe kind of the last more business specific question is, what is the craziest thing that's happened to you, like during your time as a small business owner? I know there's been some ups and downs and some cool articles on the internet and all kinds of stuff.
Pop Sugar, baby.
Yeah,
Let's call them by their name, okay?
I forgot.
I was also in Oprah magazine once online.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, one of the front page ornaments. But by far the craziest thing that's ever happened, and I've never told this story before publicly because it's way too long for a TikTok. The Friends Frame Wars sounds crazy, and yet I literally think it's the most apt name I can give this. It was a period of 5 years of just like, I mean, I make, the business started with a Friends frame. It's cute. It's happy.
Right.
People are hanging it up. It's yellow. Like, that's like the color of happiness. And yet the drama that ensued because I made a Friends frame, like you literally wouldn't believe. Because I was the first one in the United States. Quickly, there was one or two others, but I didn't really think much about it. Whatever. Yeah. Like they all look a little different. Who cares, right? But this very quickly ended up having the business, like maybe 8 months, because I was like the top of a lot of leaderboards. Like if you look at like the top sellers on Amazon, I was on some of those. And so that's why people want to copy you.
Yes, such is the nature of a physical product.
Yeah, people are like, oh, clearly there's a demand, right? And, I've had people call me out before because they're like, oh, well, anyone could have watched the show and thought that was a cute idea. Yeah, anyone could have, but no one did.
Yep. You did your due diligence. You looked around. You tried to.
Yeah, I was not trying to make a business. So whatever. No one did. It's fine. I had to prove that it was viable for people to want to do it. Because like I said, it was hard to make it. But suddenly I was getting kind of slammed. Like, 7-8 months into the business, I was getting slammed with these bad reviews. And like that had never happened before.
Sure.
And so I was like, what's going on? Like every now and then someone gets mad on Amazon, like especially on Amazon. They'll be like, oh, I didn't realize it was this big and like the size is listed. Like, I don't know what to tell you, So I was just specifically getting a lot of reviews about how it looked like a toddler made it or like just like crazy things. So I was clicking into one of these reviews and I came across the woman and she had a shop front and in it she was selling a Friends frame.
Oh, the plot thickens.
So she was a competitor and I hadn't noticed she'd cropped up. She was selling a Friends frame, because my full size one was stunning. And it is the big size I still sell to this day. But she was selling something a lot smaller. Like it was just so itty bitty. I mean, it was so cheap. So cheap. And so she, on her own account, which is against the rules. Like in case anyone's running, this is very much against the rules.
Sure.
But like it was definitely her account that did this. I realized like, what the heck? So I ordered it. Did not leave her a bad review because I'm not like that. I ordered it and it was thin, like it was crappy. But again, that wasn't the point. The point was she was clearly flooding me with bad reviews.
And she was trying to like sabotage you.
Yeah. We were able to get that one review removed. But we were getting these other reviews that have the same like language cadence.
Yeah.
And they were using the same words. She was using a company to just flame us.
Oh, so she had hired like a company that was like making bots or whatever to
Exactly. Because you'd go in, you'd click into these accounts and it would be like, some fake sounding name. Do you know what I'm saying? And then they would only leave positive reviews or only leave negative reviews. Like it was like very weird accounts.
Sure.
Like clearly. And then her listing suddenly had like, because again, I was first. Suddenly her listing had like 5,000 reviews.
That's a lot of reviews.
It's a ton of reviews. Especially because like most people don't leave reviews.
I don't think I've ever left an Amazon review.
And you shop on Amazon like all weird.
Yeah, I probably buy one thing a week on Amazon.
That's so funny. And so, but exactly.
Yeah.
So like we had like 50 and she had like 5,000. And so, and again, you could click into them and they were just clearly bot accounts. And I was like, oh my, what do we do with this?
Right.
You know, and she's slamming us with bad reviews. And that at the time, probably still, but I don't really know because I haven't had to struggle with this in a while. But like it was putting our account at risk of deactivation.
Sure.
And like all kinds of very crazy things. And so it got really scary. It escalated multiple times between us.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, because she lived in Spain, she sent into Amazon US. We literally got hacked from Spain.
Interesting.
In the middle of the night.
Sure.
And Amazon luckily sent us a thing that was like, hey, why are you logging in from Spain?
Right.
We, to this day, have a crazy amount of security on it.
Yeah, I think we've tried to change settings on your Amazon, and it's very difficult.
It's very difficult because she literally tried to get into our account.
Sure.
And it sounds like I'm making it up. Like, it's a friends frame, right? Like, what is happening?
There's money to be made.
Yeah, no, seriously. It's like, I didn't know I was getting involved in, like, a mob situation.
Yeah, literally. You're going to get whacked.
Like, how did she have a hacker do this? And I don't know.
I'm sitting here thinking, like, maybe we should hire a hacker and go after her.
The way I'm not a violent person. The amount
Speak for yourself.
of crazy scenarios that I was going through in my head, because, I mean, she was threatening my livelihood, and it was also my integrity.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the plot thickened more, right? Because we've been dealing with this for years. She started doing this thing on Amazon. You can do this thing where you claim, oh, so-and-so stole my design.
Like a copyright.
Like a copyright claim. And then Amazon will take the listing down, and they give the person who claims that 15 days to bring it to courts. Because you could say you have a copyright you don't have, right? Like you do that to competitors.
Sure.
And so we got taken down for 15 days, and obviously that was a lot of money.
That's half a month of income, yeah.
Especially because Friends Frame has been my biggest thing. I mean, for many, many years, it was my biggest moneymaker. And so, I mean, we were talking about whether or not I make my bills.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm divorced. I'm trying to pay out a lease that I got left in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, wild situation. But we were like, okay, it's 15 days. We're going to like grip on. It's going to be okay. Literally, because they're only supposed to be able to do it once. Because, then she didn't.
Yeah, she couldn't sue you because there's no grounds.
There's no grounds. Yeah. And so, although we were scared even with that, because we were like, is she going to try to do a false suit? We're going to have to, I don't know, do we fly to Spain?
Frivolous, and it's like, suddenly you're like in some EU court somewhere.
Yeah, I was like, we didn't know it was going to happen. And also, Amazon's all automated. I'm sure all of you know this.
Even more so.
As a customer, even, right? Like, it's all automated. It's like AI, pretty much. Before everyone called everything AI.
It was just the algorithm.
Yeah, it's called an algorithm. Exactly. Yeah. But so, like, we couldn't get through to talk to anyone. So it was on Reddit where someone was like, here's the form you use to, like, counter do this.
Good old Reddit. Normally the armpit of the internet, but in this case, saving the day.
And so that's why we were able to get back after 15 days, but they're only supposed to be able to do that once. Because then clearly they didn't have the grounds to
no, and it's like it's like a bazooka against your business if they just take you down for 15 days,
Well, I don't know if it was a glitch because she was Amazon Spain, we were Amazon US. I don't know what was happening because everyone on every internet forum ever was like, this should only have happened once. Yeah. She just kept redoing it.
Okay, wow, that's stressful.
And so it was like, I don't know, 4 months of this. Wow. And we're at our wits' end at this point. We don't know what to do. It was quite scary. Sure. We couldn't pay our bills. Eventually, we got through to a human being at Amazon, and they didn't apologize because companies never apologize. But they were like, we will make sure this never happens again. And so I've never had issues from her again that I know of. If she's given me some fake bad reviews, I haven't noticed. It's not been like a flood. I feel like her goal was to get my Amazon deactivated was the goal. Yeah. And luckily I hung in there. But that's the craziest thing that's ever happened.
That is bonkers. That's like something out of like a movie.
No, seriously, it's like, you're on my turf.
It's like this international.
And I'm like, I was here
war.
first. Like, I don't know what you want from me. It sounds like fake news. No, that's another reason I don't tell this story.
No, but I believe it. That's just, especially with Amazon, you can just see that kind of thing. Well, your business has covered a very large kind of breadth and depth of different fandoms: Harry Potter, being one of the big ones with the miniatures and everything. So with that being said,
well, I do fantasy.
Yeah, fantasy,
Okay.
right. But yeah, so your fans have asked, which is your least favorite of the Harry Potter novels?
Okay, so this was really hard for me because I was like, how you're just gonna like cut one out? Like, how are you gonna do that?
Easily.
You know what I mean? Oh. I had to like go backwards.
Yeah, actually, I have notes here, like where you tried to like brainstorm.
I was like, okay, well, what's my favorite one? What's my second favorite? And that was how I figured this out. It's Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
Harry Potter and the Chamber of Crap, huh?
It's not bad. It's just my least favorite.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't. For me, it has less emotional resonance as the other books.
Sure.
And so also has the spiders. And I blame. When I was a little girl, I used to pick them up. Did I ever tell you that?
No, that's crazy considering
I
how
know.
loud you scream when you see a little tiny jumping spider now.
Okay, to be fair, why are they jumping? That's not how they're supposed to work.
It's not fair.
No, I think I wasn't afraid until I was taken to the movie theaters to see Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
Okay, so so the first two I watched a bunch of times as a kid. Like the first one, absolutely magical. The second one, still pretty magical, but yeah, kind of low key a horror film between
absolutely.
the freaking basilisk and the freaking spiders.
That basilisk scene when he's like running from it. My heart was beating so high.
No, seriously, and I granted, like Voldemort's always scary, and Harry Potter deals with dark stuff, but that first movie, it was so cute, and it was fun, and it was adorable, and it was magical, and then suddenly it's
it was like it's like the difference between an action movie and a horror movie.
Yeah, no, seriously. So anyway, I definitely a little bit on the scarier side. I'm not as familiar with the books, but I can see what you're saying, where maybe that could have been a low point in some ways in terms of we've been introduced to the school world, but now it's time to kind of build things out a little bit more and kind of establish a few more things. And it's not quite as, there's not as much,
oomph.
As we get later on.
Like, I feel like I can literally point out moments in every other book. I'm sure if I really thought about it, I could for Chamber of Secrets too, but every other book scenes comes directly to mind that have changed my life forever.
Yeah, sure.
The only thing I got from Chamber of Secrets is a fear of spiders, so...
I mean, I don't know, man. That might save your life one day. Spiders are scary.
That's fair. That's fair. My great-grandma actually got her nose bit by a brown recluse.
Her nose?
Her nose. They had to, like, remove part of her nose.
Yeah, because it's like...
Maybe I'm blaming Harry Potter. Maybe it's actually that. It could actually be from that, honestly.
Oh, God.
Luckily, she lived right by the hospital.
Sure.
So...
Don't ever Google brown recluse spider bite. Don't ever do that. But speaking of Harry Potter, what are your thoughts on the HBO reboot that we're kind of dealing with right now?
They're casting for it right now, and it's really sad because the main actors are dying.
Sure.
And for some reason, that juxtaposition really gets to me. But I think I'm less negative maybe than some fans about it.
Sure. I'm hopeful.
Yeah, I think it could be good. But also, I mean, if I'm being really honest with you, I think I tend not to get excited for fandom things too far ahead of time because I feel like that sets yourself up for failure.
We've all been disappointed one too many times.
Exactly. And so, there's a few things that for me I'm really worried about. Number one, J.K. Rowling is part of it. They could have made it without her. That's not what they did. And she might have, maybe that's the only way she'd give them the rights. I don't know how that conversation went, obviously. But that's a huge thing for me that I'm not excited about.
Right.
I mean, we're talking about a woman just going out there and spreading blatant misinformation about groups of people that are already very persecuted, more likely to commit suicide, all kinds of things. And so I think that's really difficult, especially where so many of us in the fandom are trying to split. Like, for me, these are the Bible. I think they would exist with or without her. I truly believe that. And so I think having her that attached is upsetting. Sure. Because what of her hatefulness is going to get through? Number two, because I also don't think she likes women very much in general. Number two, the director has come out, or showrunner, I don't know, somebody recently has come out and they were like, yeah, fans want a true adaptation, but like, that's not what we're trying to do. Which, like,
that's always bad when they start off on that foot.
And they were like, they haven't read them, the books.
Sure.
And I'll link the article below. Because obviously I remembered no pertinent details at all. But
check the show notes.
So not reading the book, I know things have to change. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, the book's always better than the movie. Like, yeah, obviously that's true, but like,
they're different.
Get over yourself. You know what I'm saying? But I do think if you don't even respect the original, then you can't do something in the spirit of.
Hey, I totally get that. This has happened with some of my fandoms. Like Halo is a great example. A TV show came out based on Halo.
Sure.
Showrunners very publicly stated they had never played the games and had no interest in playing the games. And I just thought, with how many people loved this, that would have been very talented, that would have been very qualified showrunners, why did we have to choose somebody who literally came out and said, we're going to disregard the source material and we're just going to use the same names and imagery?
Also, who's in charge of these PR people? Because even if you haven't read the books or played the games in Halo's case, why would you admit that?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's also like,
almost feels like you're like boasting about it.
Can't we just take all right, just take a week, play the games, read the books.
I don't know, do some research.
It's not gonna kill you, and like maybe you'll get some appreciation for it. But I do think the whole books are always better crowd can sometimes be a little annoying.
Absolutely, because they're going to be mad no matter what you do.
You're never going to please all the fans.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't matter what the fandom is. Warhammer is my biggest fandom, Warhammer 40,000. We're really excited because Henry Cavill is the executive producer, and he's very into the fandom.
Sure.
And so we're seeing it's taking a very long time for anything to come out, but I think part of that's because they're trying very hard to make sure that anything that's put out matches the source material, and that's very exciting for me. So yeah, that knowing that we're already starting this Harry Potter reboot that's supposed to be closer to the books because we have a whole season for each book is already predicated on the idea that we're not sticking to the books, and you kind of have to wonder what the hell are we even doing.
Yeah. I mean, there could be some exciting things. So I
bet it'll be cool.
I'm just hesitant.
Yeah.
I don't want to get my hopes up. I think that's why our fans go wrong and why they get so mad all the time, because I think it puts you in a negative headspace. So I try not even to like really engage in the news about it yet, especially because these things change.
Yeah,
even that showrunner, like they could get fired before it happens.
What's the release date supposed to be for this?
I don't know.
They're casting
right
now. Probably at least 2 years from now.
Yeah, like
anything could happen.
It could take a long time to find the right kids.
Yeah, you got to find somebody. What did they say about Daniel Radcliffe? That he looked innocent but haunted, or whatever it was, which was perfect. So, yeah, love you, Daniel.
Icon.
So yeah, Harry Potter's been a big part.
He looked traumatized. Poor little
Such
kid.
high praise for an actor. Friends, clearly with the Friends frame, some of your other products has been a big part of what FanCorner's done.
Sure.
What is your favorite Friends episode?
I don't know about my absolute favorite, but right now, if I were to answer this, I think it'd be the one with the candy hearts, which is the Valentine's Day episode where the girls are all anti-men and they do a burning seance.
Oh, yeah, and then the hot firefighters come in.
The hot firefighters come in. We also have Ross on a first date, and he sees his ex-wife Carol across the way. I think it's one of the only episodes where Ross is empathetic.
Oh, they're at the I forget the name of the restaurant.
Like the Benihana style.
They like throw the shrimp at you. But he's like sees her across the little the boxing table. And,
yeah. And he, I think that's such a beautiful episode, but mostly it's about the girls for me.
Yeah,
it's about the way they're looking out for each other and stuff on that
casting
day.
Black magic spells or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Witchy and good. Great. I thought you were going to say Holiday Armadillo, but I think that might be a little too much of a low-hanging fruit.
Holiday Armadillo is really cute, though.
Yeah.
Like, I think that episode is one of the most quoted episodes for me, maybe.
Sure.
So.
Well, you are a fandom girly. There's lots of different things that you are a fan of. What is an unpopular opinion you have about one of your fandoms?
Okay, so I want to preface this by saying I have a million unpopular opinions about everything. Like, I'm so opinionated. So I'm going to say out two, because one is a fandom I don't know if anyone will care about. Number one, in Harry Potter, the whole, did you put your name into the goblet of fire? And I've said this before. I think it was a good change in the movie. Given how the script was written for Dumbledore for that point, I think it was able to portray more. I think the more brooding Dumbledore, the more manipulative Dumbledore would have taken more scenes than we had to portray.
Sure.
And so I think we had to interpret Dumbledore differently.
We needed grandpa.
And I don't think the fans want to hear it. I get why it's funny.
Sure.
But I think it was a good change given the situation.
And it made for a fire TikTok sound.
Absolutely fire TikTok sound. And then, just really, it shows this fear in a real way for me.
Yeah, I like it.
But my second, something that's driving me up a wall currently, right now, okay, I'm on, because of course I am, ACOTAR TikTok.
Oh, you don't say.
I know. You're shocked, really. You had no idea.
I'm floored.
Do not hate Nesta. That is very important that you know that. I do not hate her, but I hate her defenders.
You hate the pro Nesta crowd.
I hate the pro Nesta crowd. And the reason for that is Nesta has only just begun her character journey.
Okay.
She has only just begun coming to terms with the fact that she has been abusive to her family her entire life.
Right.
And even if that's because of her trauma, don't come at me. Or do come at me in the comments, it's fine. Even if it's because of her trauma, that's not an excuse to abuse other people.
Sure.
And again, she was not a child. It's very important to keep saying she was not a child during the events of the books. Because she's older than Feyre. Feyre was 19 in the first book. That being said, and I think it's important that we see Nesta learning to like let down those guards and learning and like her crying so much in her own book finally and like feeling those things even though they're so dark is important for so many people that do react to trauma that way.
Sure.
To watch that journey and to watch that you can come out on the other side. However, one very harrowing week in a mountain on a hike, crying a lot, is not enough to change who you are as a person. Like, you still have to put in the work. And she doesn't. Okay? Like, I don't want to do any spoilers, right? But like, there's another book that she shows up in. Mm-hmm. And in the Mossverse, and she says something, and there's this one line, because it's clear that she has not done it. And so when people say she's redeemed herself, they're wrong. She still needs to do the work, because if she's going to continue to be that hateful towards people, I know she saved Feyre at the end of the book.
She saved her sister. Oh.
Who saved her like 10 times.
Yeah.
It's fine. And again, I love Nesta. I loved that book.
I remember, when I started, you said, there's going to be people in this book that you're going to want to punch in the face, but I promise it's worth it. And I was like, you're talking about Nesta, aren't you?
Yes, exactly. I really do love Nesta, but I think I hear a lot of people defending her on TikTok in a way that's minimizing other characters or pretending that she wasn't abusive.
Sure.
You know, I hear a lot about, Feyre is an unreliable narrator, which is actually really sad because Feyre has never been really believed in her life. And that's the whole fucking story of why she's a victim.
Yeah.
So that drives me up a wall. Or Feyre this, or, Feyre's the evil one, or, just all this crap, just honestly. And if you're going to be a Nesta defender, if her story speaks to you, but yet you're only ever defending her earlier abuses to people, then I'm going to hold your hand when I say this. Please go to therapy. Like, you are hurting people in your life right now. And I think that's important.
We're allowed to have character arcs. Like, even as humans, like, we're allowed to make mistakes, but then just because you made a mistake and you change and try to become better doesn't mean you don't have to repair the damage that was done.
Absolutely. And I think people I've been seeing a lot of people just trying to erase that she even did anything negative to begin with. Sure. And it makes me feral.
I don't...
Because then her story isn't even compelling, to be honest with you. Like, if none of that was true, none of it is compelling.
Well, I don't know a lot about Nesta. I've only read 2 of the books. So I don't know if I've seen a lot of the stuff people are talking about. But I do feel like when I hear about people defending a very problematic character, I have kind of 2 thoughts, and this might be a hot take. And one is that the people doing the defending might have some issues of their own.
Sure.
But it might also be the case that they have dealt with people who have abused them and are trying to make excuses for those abusers.
You know, something, because I think that a lot of the Tamlin supporters.
Great example. Yeah.
The Tamlin supporters, when it's women, it does break your heart a little, because clearly they have a Tamlin.
And when it's men, they're just in the same frat. So.
Yeah, exactly. 2 very different things. But Nesta's interesting because I think if you relate to Nesta and you're defending Nesta, my guess is you do the same things Nesta does.
Sure.
I don't think it's that you were abused the way Nesta was abused. And I really hope you... And to be fair, that's why I'm sensitive to it.
Sure.
I had a Nesta in my life.
You've had several Nestas.
And I have been the Feyre. I've always been the person... You know, it's funny because I see people talk about how it's unrealistic to respond to major abuse and childhood abuse by becoming nicer and fawning or whatever. Or like, becoming more loving towards other people. And yet that's my experience. Sure. So, like, I don't know. But, not saying I'm a great person. I'm a bitch. But I do think I have a more favorable trauma response. And so like seeing people that are like Nesta's, I mean, it triggers me. There's some characters like Severus that I do defend. And why is that different? I think it's different because I'm not trying to erase he did bad things.
Right.
Also, the difference is we see what Nesta does that's evil, and some of Snape's you don't see. So I think it's complicated. The double agent thing's complicated. I think when people talk about morally gray characters as if they're not morally gray, though, it drives me up a wall.
Yeah.
You'll never even hear me say that about Snape.
Yeah, we've taken this idea of morally gray, and it's kind of become just like some of these characters are just assholes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's like, no,
I don't.
Yeah, no, you're not morally gray. You're a piece of shit.
Yeah, like literally, it's the devil, and they're like, "Oh, he's morally gray,
It's
though."
like, yeah, well, sympathy for the devil's always been a thing, right? Like,
well, to be fair, depending on how you interpret the origin story, Lucifer you could interpret it as he was trying to help humans. So, anyway, that's a whole different thing. I'm sorry, I think about that a lot.
Well,
I'm annoying.
No, it's adorable. I think the amount of time that we've spent addressing whether or not Snape's a good person, just you and I talking casually, we could probably film several podcast episodes about it.
That's why I've never done it, is because it wouldn't fit in one episode. It's going to have to be like 4 parts because it's too much.
Well, I want to get back into the business itself a little bit more, as it is the 8th birthday of FanCorner. You have a lot of great products. Some of them are miniatures.
Some mid.
They're all. Which of your miniatures is your favorite? It's a big part of your business.
Well, okay, so the miniatures, which are newer, so they're the very small little guys.
Designed to bring out your cute aggression.
Probably the bunny.
Bunny's cute.
The bunny's really cute, and the very small Philosopher's Stone brings me oodles of joy. In terms of the actual miniatures, because obviously that's a lot more of my store, I mean, and this is something we designed ourselves, I think my Triwizard Cup is objectively stunning. And I really like that, yeah.
Yep, they're really beautiful.
Yeah.
I've helped you make a few of those. There's a lot involved, even just in putting them together to
yeah,
sell.
Even the post-processing, yeah.
I love that. And it's such a cool symbol and such a cool aesthetic and everything. That's a really cool
the light shining through the blue. And then it looks really good with all the happiness spells.
Yeah,
so like if you have like a collection.
Vibe match, yeah. So we talked about what one of the craziest things to happen to your business was.
Sure.
What's one of the best things that's ever happened in your business?
Social media.
That was quick.
Oh, absolutely. I looked through the list ahead of time, to be honest with you. Otherwise, I could not have answered a single question. You'd ask me something and I'd be like, I don't know. Social media is the best thing that ever happened to my business. Specifically, actually, a influencer. Her name was Victoria McLean. She has a very large YouTube channel. You might know her. She sometimes is on news channels even. Like anytime like something happens in the Harry Potter community, news channels call her in. Because she's in the Guinness World Book Records as like the largest Harry Potter collector or something.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sure.
Yeah, I had no idea who she was. Social wasn't something I was good at growing up because it was a popularity contest. It was a different thing. And so I didn't like it very much. And, but this woman bought my vanishing cabinet. I had no idea who she was. And she bought the earrings as well. And I sent them to her, just not knowing who she was.
Sure.
Because why would I know that?
Yeah, well, a lot of orders come through. Yeah.
And at the time, I was very small.
Sure.
Like that part of my business was very small. And I had a social media account, but we weren't doing much with it. I didn't really know how to do it. My product photography was horrible. I am actually surprised she bought it. You know what I mean? But she posted about it on social.
Okay.
And I got orders of this product for like a year.
Wow.
And I think I attribute it all to her.
Wait, which product was it?
It was a vanishing cabinet. It was life-changing.
Sure.
Because suddenly, something that didn't really sell, I was like, oh, there are people that want these things.
Yeah, it's getting it in front of the right audience,
just don't know what I'm doing yet. Sure. And it kind of taught me, too, because I didn't know about this whole, like, Potter talk and Potter YouTube, which, I love these people. Sure. So that's something I need to know. They are your people now. They're my people. Yeah. So I started taking social media really seriously, and obviously now, like, I'm fairly large on TikTok. I've gone viral quite a few times, to the point of death threats, which is always like, that's how you know you really made it. Yep. So I think, like, I have found my voice, actually, on social, and now it's something I cannot imagine living without.
Sure.
This medium to talk to people and that people care. Like, why are people sending in questions?
Sure.
Who the hell am I?
Like, a lot of questions
I did have a lot of questions. Like, who am I?
I feel like if I were to do something like this, I'd have to, like, submit questions to my own thing to make myself not look stupid.
I have done that before. If I'm
well,
being
if you have
honest
like
with
you want a very specific thing to come up, that's not. Have you ever wanted to have your products like in physical stores?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
What,
yeah.
Like what? Tell me about that. Like where? Or what do you think?
So I think it'd be really cool. Like, I have the new dragons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it'd be very cool if like Lovebound Library carried them or something.
Sure. So we're not like Target, but like a store.
No, I mean I don't. I mean, I'm not that cool. I don't know. I have one product idea that but I still just don't think so. I can't even picture that. But like these sort of like small bookshops, I think often will have like knickknacks or things like that, or maybe wedding stores.
Game shops is one I feel like I've heard you talk about, actually.
Exactly. Like I would. I mean, my game. I'm waiting until the product redesign. But like my game being in game stores, I mean, I can't imagine what that would feel like.
It'd be really cool to walk in and be able to do one of those like little TikToks where you like sign it or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Kind of fun.
So I definitely think it's a dream of mine. It's not happened as of yet, but someone's agreed to carry my fairy tale, which isn't printed under FanCorner, but it's still really cool.
Yeah, no, that's a step closer. Yeah. There's some kind of validity that comes from, I think, being at a brick and mortar store.
Absolutely. I also think like there's some of my products were just objectively, and I see this at cons, right? When I go to conventions, my earrings, they do not sell well online. They just don't. But man, the second when I'm in a freaking convention center, everyone realizes how cool they are.
Yeah.
Because they can touch them and they can make sure that they're not fragile.
Yeah, the tactile kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like my products are more detailed and less fragile by far than they look. Or even the Friends frame, now that there's so many knockoffs, so many.
Oh, whenever people see them, they say, oh, this is way more beautiful than the one my friend has. Or
Yeah, exactly. Because everyone in their 3D printer is printing like really crappy FDM. This is not me saying I'm anti-3D printer. Obviously, I use 3D printers for some of my things, but
yeah,
you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Like, and so I think like having it in a store where they can tell, I just think it's gonna, those are some of my long-term best customers is people who have met me in real life at conventions.
So speaking of conventions, are there conventions that you would love to have a table at that you haven't had so far?
So dear reader, by reader I mean question writer on Instagram. You didn't know this, but you accidentally traumatized me with this question. You couldn't have known.
As you do.
I used to have some dreams. It's so bitter. I really wanted to be at Dragon Con one day.
Okay, sure. Dragon Con is in Georgia?
It's in Atlanta. Yeah. Yep. I really wanted that one day. It's supposed to be. I mean, I've only heard this from people, right? Like, I've never been. I don't know. Yeah. I've heard it's like the biggest convention for people like me. Like this is where people make money. But it's impossible to get in as a vendor. And that was hard for me this year. I tried getting in and I was denied because I didn't have enough products, I guess. And I don't see at what point that's ever going to change.
You've got like 150 different products.
Talking about so I just don't know what to do with it. But so that was a dream of mine for a long time. I also had a dream to speak at LeakyCon, now EnchantyCon. I don't know if that's my dream anymore. So the only dream I have left that I actually feel like I really want to go for is I really want to go. I call it the mothership. Even though no one makes money there is what I've heard. I really want to vend at San Diego Comic-Con.
Okay, sure. Yeah,
it's probably going to be like a disaster. Like I probably have no idea what I'm doing. I've worked with that company before as well. So they also do WonderCon up in Anaheim.
Right.
And, I've worked for, I've gone to cons, I think all the major con players except Atlanta's, because I think Atlanta's is its own thing. But the other ones, they're owned by like sister companies, they put on multiple ones. And so I think Wonder has like a very good system. Like they're very timely, they're very whatever. Not to say things don't go wrong, but like they definitely,
it's a con.
Like I think they have more care for their vendors and stuff. And so that's still a dream, is one day to go to the mothership. I'm sure I'm going to have a panic attack, but like, let's go anyway.
That's going to be a lot of people.
That's actually what I've heard. I've heard it's like I asked someone once about it and they were like, do not go as just a person because it's just wall-to-wall person. And I just couldn't do that. So I'm hoping that by being in my booth, I feel a little...
Yeah, like you've got that force field between you and the masses.
People, I love meeting all of you, but I don't think I like feeling trapped. So,
sure.
But I'm excited though. That's maybe a dream of mine.
I think I like that as like kind of a hopeful, something to come in the future. But speaking of hopeful things in the future, I think a nice question to end on is, what is a dream product of yours. What's something that you would love to have on your shop in sometime in the not too distant future?
You know, this is interesting because I don't feel like I'm very good at looking too distantly into the future.
Sure.
The way this question was originally worded is they were like, you know, like your absolute dream, like if no constraints, and I was like, wow, I don't know.
I want to sell a yacht.
Yeah, I was like, what? I don't know. I don't even know. Which is a great question. I'm not shading the question. This is a trauma thing. Like I can't see very far to the future. Yeah, there's a pattern. There's always a pattern with me. And pattern is trauma. But I think, you know, I tend to do this thing where once I have a vision, I do it before I'm ready to do it.
Sure.
Like, I had no business making that card game right when I did.
Run before you can walk.
There were some mistakes made. And I think it's the same with some of these other visions I have. I really want to do coloring books.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, I have specific themes already in mind.
We've seen some cute coloring books around.
Absolutely.
It's a really fun thing.
And I don't know if I have the skills quite yet, so we're working on it still. But like the big thing is I can see it in my little mind's eye. I really want a line of like magical creature purses, and I won't go too in depth, even though I have a very strong vision for it. I really want to do this. I think magical creatures, you know, they're in so many worlds. They mean so much to us. There's symbolism in them. I love bags. I have a bag addiction, actually.
We have a whole gallery wall that goes along the length of our house of bags.
It's an art display. Doesn't it look like modern art?
Yeah, no, it looks like a gallery.
Yeah, it's like really cool. So, but I really want to get into this game of bags, I think.
I think that's a really fun direction.
Yeah.
To go.
That's a vision. That's a dream. And then I guess my other dream maybe is to, so much of my effort right now is in that fairy tale.
Yeah, so the book is, you want to talk about a dream product. Writing a book that's a dream that a lot of people have that they'll never accomplish, and you're 2/3 of the way there.
Every single day I'm like, I can't believe I'm doing this. Because every day I have to figure something else out. Like buying my ISBNs or whatever. Yeah. But recently on my author page, people are asking, I've had 2 people within 14 hours of each other. Maybe within 4 hours, honestly. Saying, I would read this.
Love that.
People I don't know, not like my best friend or something. And that's crazy.
That's kind of crazy.
And so I think I can't really see past this because I'm a hyper-fixated person.
Sure.
But I definitely think there's hopefully big things coming for me. I think I'm finally hitting a point, and I don't know when this happened, right? Because I became a full-time artist last year.
Yes, you did.
I quit my corporate job, YOLO.
Yeah.
And I feel like I finally can start to see that there are more possibilities for me than I ever thought before.
Sure.
Like, I think I'm not limited to these miniatures or to these whatever. I think for a long time I thought I was.
Yeah.
And I'm the same way with my content, right? Like, I talk about everything. It drives people nuts, right? Like, I won't niche down. It hurts me in terms of follower count, but then the people that love me.
Sure.
So I just think there's so much more I have to give, and I'm starting to realize that.
Yeah.
Because I think you have to learn something's possible to even want to do it.
Sure. Yeah, you have to break through those limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
It's like we just watched with, the wondrous or marvelous Mrs. Maisel, right? Like the things that you can accomplish, and once you look for the opportunity for your break and you take it.
Yeah, you have to take the opportunity. Yeah. It will never be given to you.
Gonna be
I fully believe that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that too. I've seen it with my business that like you can fight tooth and nail sometimes, and it's not enough. Nobody's ever just going to walk in and be like, "Hey, you want to be a bajillionaire?" It's never going to happen that way.
No, and no one's even going to say, we all have those supportive friends, right? But no one's even going to say, "I believe in you."
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? Most of the time, people will be like, "I don't know if that's a good idea," or like, I have people all the time tell me all kinds of things that I should make.
I love that. Yeah.
To be clear, when I ask y'all and you put it on Instagram, that's a different thing. Like, that's fine. I'm asking you.
The people who come up to you and they're like, "Hey, this will fix your business."
I'll be like at the dentist office, you know what I mean? And I've started lying to people, just saying I work in social media. Actually,
it's a little bit easier because
every time I say I'm an artist, then people are like, "Although actually, wait, this was ADHD of me." Yesterday, we were buying the balloons for my photo shoot, and some cute girly pop. And I was like, oh no. Because every time someone asks and I say I'm an artist, they're like, oh, what do you make? And I kind of tell them. And then they're immediately like, clearly like they don't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
Or they then tell me something I should make.
Right.
Well, what if you made more Marvel stuff? And it's like, okay, so that's IP. Actually, so I won't be doing that. Unlike a dragon, which is just everywhere. But also, shut up. Like, I chase my passion. But no, this cute girly pop, she was like, whoa, what's your handle? She looked me up, which I've had that even happen before. And
people will look you up and then not actually follow.
Which is fine, to be clear, but it is kind of awkward. Like, I don't like doing this tap dance. But this girly pop was, like, so into it. And she's liked, like, 3 of my stories since. So I was just like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know. It was very complimentary, but...
So if you're there, Jazzy, thank you.
You're an icon, honestly. And she... Look how cute these are.
Courtesy of Jazzy.
Did such a good job with them. I then gave Sirius credit on my social media, which is what
he did help.
Like. He likes to steal the balloons and walk them to me.
It's hilarious.
Like, buy the ribbons. But, I don't even know what I'm saying. What did you ask me?
I don't know.
Well, there you go.
What were we getting at with that?
I don't know.
Something that happened with Jazzy. Oh, people giving recommendations for products that they think you want to make. Because you'll tell them you're an artist.
Oh, yeah. So I think once something occurs to my brain as something I want to purchase, nothing in the world will deter me from making it.
Well, that's how you got success with the Friends frame.
Everything I've made is that way. Like the Winky earrings, I love them. I wear them all the time. Like once I've decided I want to make something, nothing will stop me from making it. I'll spend too much money doing it. I'll learn entire new skill sets to do it. I'll like do all kinds of things. So I think like I have this like intensity when it comes to that. And I'm starting to realize the power in that. Because I think I used to just feel embarrassed by it.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? Like I put out these products where like, yeah, they're not quite what I wanted yet.
Sure.
I'm still learning. And so I'll feel embarrassed. But people like them.
Yeah.
And that's something I have to remember is there's power in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if I'm still learning along the way, there's power in it.
I think your products tell a story. And stories are how we learn, and it's how we identify with the world. And so people, when they buy the product, they're buying the story, and I think it changes their life.
Yeah. Ironically, I think that's always what I wanted to be when I grew up.
You want to be a storyteller?
Yeah. I feel like if I look at, because it changed, right?
Of course.
At one point it was an actress.
Yeah.
At one point, it was a figure skater. Like, it's
you
always
wanted
changed.
to be a figure skater?
Are you kidding me?
Cute!
That movie came out, what was it called? Ice Princess? Do you remember that?
I don't believe I saw that.
She uses math to, like, figure out how to better figure skate.
That's awesome.
And
see,
the
so boy version of that was Moneyball. You ever seen Moneyball with Brad Pitt?
Not the same thing. Because this is artistry. It's life. It's something else. But so it's always been about the story for me.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? I wish I could have been a figure skater. I had no money. Like
that was very expensive.
I could not have been a figure skater.
That's
I've gone skating 4 times in my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, so I've always, I danced for a while. Like, in English classes, they were always like, wow, tell me you're gonna major in English. Yeah. Because I loved writing things. We got to rewrite Romeo and Juliet or whatever.
Sure.
The heck we were doing. I've always been about how to tell the story. And I think like, while it has changed what that thing is, it's always the same. Same reason I was great in debate. The reason I was great in debate wasn't just because I remembered facts and figures.
Right.
That was never it. It was because I recognized the story, and that makes for a more compelling argument.
Absolutely.
So I think that's what I do with FanCorner, right? Like, I think the products are part of a story. The social media is certainly part of a story. Yeah. Everything about me is very storytelling driven, I hope.
Yeah. I think that it's a great story you have to tell.
Sometimes.
Well, congratulations on your success. Congratulations on 8 years. I think you should be very proud. I think you should have some cake.
We did make a cake.
And it was adorable. Has a niffler on it.
Yeah, I did a buttercream transfer. And it worked.
Went really well.
I was literally anticipating it to be a fail video. Like, watch me try to make my own logo cake.
Which would have been hilarious.
That's what I thought was going to happen. And then it worked, and I was like, oh. Yeah. Not that I'm complaining. I was just surprised.
I'm glad it's gone well. But I know I am certainly excited. I think the audience is excited to see what stories you have to tell next. So
you're taking this little host thing very seriously. Look at you.
We've been watching Midge.
You're like, ooh, how do I tie up a little bow?
I needed.
You're trying to be like Gordon Ford.
No, I'm not trying to be like Gordon. But maybe the role that he should have had. Yes.
Sure.
I want to be. I want to help you tell your story.
Okay.
That's what I'm here for.
Well, that was amazing.
You're
I loved
welcome.
it.
Yeah.
In terms of announcements, it's my birthday week, so go. First of all, like, subscribe, comment, all things.
Please.
But secondly, right now, if you buy anything on the website, you get Oopsie products for free. There's an example of that on the TikTok page, but it's like, I don't know, weird unicorns that have like a slightly weird knee. Or
they're still
whatever.
really cute.
Yeah, he thinks they're really cute still. So I'm throwing products at people if you buy something. But then also there's a giveaway on my Instagram page that you can go enter as well. So go enter. It's really easy. You like it and you comment something you like about me. If you comment something you hate about me, I will delete it. That will not count as a giveaway entry. But anything else counts. And so, those are the fun freebie things for birthday week. So go join in on the fun. The grand prize winner gets to choose between a friend's frame, a blue French horn, or a gold Niffy that I pulled.
Oh.
I need to make a name for her. That's like, she needs like a name because she's the birthday Niffy.
She's really cute.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll brainstorm that.
Yeah.
We're good at that.
Like, people, maybe comment them. Anyway.
What's Goldfinch's name?
Goldfinch?
From your book, the Goldfinch.
No,
girl.
I know Goldfinch, but like, I know that's not her name, but like, he calls her that.
It's like the pleated prisoner or whatever.
Yeah.
She's in a gold cage. I don't know, babe. That's pretty on the nose.
Well, that got dark. She's in a gold cage. No, this is her burrow. She can get out anytime she wants.
Never mind.
I'm not caging nifflers on my page. Stop saying that. People are going to think I'm a monster.
You can delete this.
Oh, no. I'm not going to delete this. You're kidding. This is hilarious. So funny. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for joining us today and listening, and we hope you have a very magical day.